Okay, so now that I've got my windscreen in, I'm working on so the windscreen surrounds, and of course that ultimately leads to the window wipers going back on. So these are the ones that came off. No big surprise, the actual rubbers are all deteriorated, so they've got to be changed. So I've got some replacements for those that are faithful to the original, which is quite nice. So I've got those, and obviously I need to clean up the wiper arms. So this is one that I've already cleaned up with anisole and wire wool, and it looks fabulous. I'm really pleased with that. So yeah, I'm going to finish cleaning this one, get the new wiper heads put on, and see if I can get one in the car. Very nice. That's cleaned up. Okay, so that's got the rear view mirror in. That looks really nice. I've got most of my windshield trim in. I've now got these pieces to put in the sides, and that will sort of finish off the interior surround of the windscreen. Okay, so those are all in. Looks cool. Very pleased with those. So long-term viewers of this channel will be aware of my many issues with the windscreen wiper motor. So obviously it didn't work. There were other issues with the wipers not working, which I think I've managed to solve, but the big one was that the windscreen wiper motor never worked. I never managed to get any life out of it. I found some wires that weren't connected correctly, so I opened it up and reconnected those, soldered them back into place. I put in some new carbon brushes inside the motor because I thought the ones that were there looked cracked. So I replaced those, it still didn't work. So then you open it up, and I ended up replacing loads of the wiring on the inside, putting it all back together again, and it still didn't work. So yeah, not once did I get the tiniest little whirring of life out of the wiper motor. So I decided to throw in the towel and buy myself one off of eBay. So this is one that I think was originally in a Chevrolet Corvette, so it looks exactly the same, and apparently it was, you know, the old classic. It was working when it was taken out of the car. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so the windscreen wiper motor should be in the back here. So first off, I need to get the So the fun and games with getting the window wipers working on my Chevy continue. I just switch the ignition on. Okay, so everything's on. You can hear the fuel pump kicking in. If I turn the wipers on, the monster is lifeless. Now the thing is, when I first connected this up and switched it on, it worked. and the wipers were wiping. So something has happened. I don't think, I mean, the ground is alright, we're connected to the power. The little cable that moves it on and off is working fine. So, I don't know. I don't know if I've been given a motor that was on its last legs. I don't know. But yeah, it worked. It worked, and now it doesn't work. That is not good news. Okay, so I have not been here to work on the car for a couple of weeks, so I've just been too busy. So anyway, I managed to get in today. So my plan is to put the back glass in, because that is holding back a lot of other jobs. And that was being held up because I didn't have these clips that I needed to order. So there are clips that go around the glass that hold in the stainless steel trim. When I took the glass out, I could see that a lot of the original clips were either broken or too heavily rusted to reuse, so I knew I was not going to be able to use all of those. There were a few that were in salvageable condition, so I've given those a bit of rust converter, and I've got this new pack of clips, so there's more than enough there now. So yeah, it's time to crack on. I need to clean up the back glass, get the rubber around it, get the clips on, get the butyl tape around the edge. I need to clean this as well. Yeah, should be a very similar process to putting in the windscreen. Also, the fact that I can stand in the boot because I've not put the boot lid back on should mean it's much easier to work on, but we'll see. Okay, so I've now managed to wrestle the rubber onto the glass. That was a right pain in the arse. I think if anyone is foolish enough to follow my videos for any instruction or helpful tips, what I would say is I think trying to just sort of put the rubber on and feed it all the way around was a mug's game, because it needs to stretch. I think what I found was if I do the corners first, because there are actual corners to the back window rather than just a continuing curve like on the front window. If you do the corners first, and then that means you have to stretch the top line, and then you do the same with the bottom line. That was more successful than trying to work my way around from one point all the way around 360 degrees. Right, yeah, so I've got my clips in, I've got my butyl strip in, and I've nicely tucked that all in around the clips, so I think that should be good. I've got loads of clips around here because I had the leftovers from the old one, so I'm happy there's going to be plenty of clips to hold the stainless trim in. Okay, so it's not in yet. It's looking better, and the thing is, I spent way longer than I will admit to trying to work out how the hell to get it in there, but I must confess I had my rubber on the wrong way around. It now looks much better. I'm much more confident in getting this done fairly shortly. So yeah, make sure you get your rubber on the right way, kids. Okay, at long last, with an enormous amount of wrestling and repositioning, I think we're in. So I will say the rubber lip on the inside, particularly at the top on the back glass, is not as thick as it is on the windscreen. So on the windscreen you pull the rope and the little rubber lip goes over the pinch weld really nicely. Here there's so little to play with that I end up sort of pulling the rope out and it's not actually pulled the rubber over, so you end up then having to take a pick, a little pick, and just kind of like wedging your way around the rubber sort of centimetre by centimetre with that, and that's a real pain in the arse. I've heard of some people who don't use the rope method of putting in these glass panels, and all they do is just use a pick. Those people are psychopaths. So we've got most of the stainless steel trim in now. I don't have these corner pieces. I thought I had them with me. I've got the old ones that I sort of bent up a bit removing them, so I have got some replacements for those, but I think I've left them at home, so they're not going to go on today. Right, through the magic of video, this is now a week later. It's taken me that long to get back here. I did manage to find my corner pieces, so that is the last bit of the back glass. The back glass is now properly in. Okay, now that the back glass is in, I can theoretically finish off the back of the headliner that I never did because I decided it would be more sensible to wait until the glass was in. I think I'm still good with that decision. Now if you buy the correct headliner for this car, it comes with these kind of cardboard strips along the back that, because it's all been custom made for the right car, they slot into these little slots here, and then once you've slotted them in there, it holds the rest of the headliner in nice and tight, and then you can tuck it behind this little piece of rubber here and it's all a nice neat finish. I haven't got that in my headliner because, as we discovered, I've got the wrong headliner, so I've had to make my own. There we go, strips. So normally there are two strips, so the idea is that these will slot in behind these little toothed areas. I'm trying to do this one-handed, it's not easy, something like that. Anyway, yeah, so if I can wrap the headliner around behind that, as like so, pull it nice and tight and slot it in behind there, then it should be a nice snug fit. Okay, so now I've staple gunned my pieces of hardboard all the way across. So now see if I can turn these over like so and tuck them in nicely behind those teeth. Right, so I'm fairly certain this is going to be impossible to film, but let's give it a go. So there we go, it's in. How good does that look? That's superb. I'm really pleased with that. It took a bit of wrestling to get this rubber lip out and tucked over, but that really neatens it up. There's still a few loose threads in there which I need to sort out. So with that, obviously one job leads on to another. Next thing, I've still got this bit of excess material here. There should be a piece of material, I think, that goes in this side panel, because I've got to build a parcel shelf to go in the back there, which is obviously going to go up to here. Then I've got the window trim, which overlaps all of the rough edges here, but that will still leave a piece here, and there's a little bit of a gap underneath the rubber there where I think I can tuck more of this in. So I think these side panels, I think there is still a piece to go in there, so that's something I'm going to have to create at some point, but that is a tiny little finishing touch. I think getting this whole headliner in is a big deal, and that really does smarten the car up massively. Obviously I need to clean it, there's lots of speckles on it, sorry about that. Yeah, really pleased with that, fantastic.